don't know.
Hello, GI Joburgers, and welcome to episode 237, hot on the heels of our deep dive into the core called Hardcore. We decided to call this episode Hard Sell. Reason being, there are some toys out there in the classic ARAL line. Yeah, spark up that cigarette, Rob. That you just, for love of money, can't ever see yourself buying. We like to call those at GI Joburg the hard sells. And tonight, myself, Steve, my buddy Paul, and my other buddy Rob are all gonna select one of these Marmite figures that you either love or hate, and maybe persuade the fence sitters to see some hidden virtues that they might have otherwise missed. But my name is Steve. As I mentioned up top, I'm joined by my buddies Paul. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Steve.
And Rob.
Hey, Rob.
And it's time to embark on our mission to sell you on some toys that you otherwise would have passed on. But first, it's been a wild and wonderful week in GI Joburg land, in GI Joe land in general. I'm going to start us off with a somber yet hopeful note. Those of you who are friends or who know Joe Motion Videos 82, a fella called Byron, he suffered a stroke this week past, which is very unfortunate, but silver lining, he immediately jumped on his channel to let everyone know he's doing okay, he's recovering just fine, and might need to take a little bit of extra time before getting the next review out. How amazing is this guy? Okay,
Wow.
If I just had a stroke, the last thing I was going to do is jump on the channel and let people know that the next review is on its way, but it might take a little bit of extra time because I need to get a little bit of rest. Like, what an absolutely sterling fella.
What a rock
That is
star.
actually amazing. Aww.
So, Byron, GI Joburg salutes you. We would like to encourage you to get as much rest as possible and then some. Do not feel too strong a compulsion to come back to the YouTube space too soon. I mean, I know, like, to many of us, it's our temple, it's our place of worship. It is our recovery to come into this space and talk about our favorite toys. But yeah, man, we'll be rooting for you, buddy, and yeah, get all the rest you need. The
meantime, we can enjoy
fandom
your-
will keep.
Exactly, and we'll enjoy. It'll give us a chance to enjoy your back catalog as well. So.
Absolutely. But speaking of matters health-related, gents, to the best of our knowledge, the three members of GI Joburg have not yet contracted COVID. So I was thinking of a macabre and awful game in which there is absolutely no possible potential winner, but perhaps a little betting pool we can have open on the side. Which of the three of us is going to get it first? Rob works in retail, so he's in the public sphere. Paul's partner was infected. Paul himself did not get tested, so it's anybody's guess whether or not you had it and just were asymptomatic.
But I didn't even get sick. Yeah.
And my spouse works in healthcare, so here we go, guys. I mean, Kim's always telling me, like, people come to the emergency wards with broken arms, or they'd fallen off the bed, or, you know, they had various other complications, a rash or
Falling
something.
off the bed.
Whatever. Like, what do people come to the emergency room in Australia? It's not like they're getting axe wounds and bullet holes. they
Well,
got
I
hit
hope
by...
you don't catch her falling off the bed, Stephen.
Well, in any case, my point is, people keep coming into the emergency ward for other things. They wind up getting a rapid antigen test and like, oh, they got COVID as well. So clearly, Townsville has been hit with Omicron. So it's anybody's guess which of the three of us will be the first to get the lurgy and be able to report exactly how severe or not severe our time with it was.
Yeah. That is rather macabre, actually.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, if you'd like to drop down into the comments section on the YouTube video, I know you might be listening to this as a podcast on a podcatcher, but we love to check out the the comment section on the YouTube version. So regardless, find us and leave a comment and tell us which of the three hosts of GI Joburg is likely to have COVID first.
But I mean, the thing is,
it's only a matter of time, right?
yes, that's what I
Dude.
was about to say. It feels like everyone at this point, it's inevitable. People are just like resigning themselves to getting
It's
it.
not going away.
It's not about not getting it. It's like eventually you will have it, in whatever form you're going to get it in.
So perhaps this is a great way to destigmatize it, and to folks who are still living very cloistered lives. You know, I'm not speaking about folks who are already vulnerable, who have pre-existing conditions. Please stay indoors, stay protected. But to everyone else teetering on the brink of living their lives as per normal, maybe this is a great way of just destigmatizing the pandemic. You know? Just go out and get it, and get sick, get well, get on with your
Pandemic
life.
is a person too,
Oh,
guys.
wow,
Come
like
on.
I'm not gonna advocate any of that behavior. You know, don't get out there and get down with the sickness.
All right,
do
all right,
you.
all right.
Be
Well, then-
careful. Take
Let-
precautions, but live your life.
Let me change the topic then. I'd like to just shout out the boys from RoboSkull one more time.
Oof.
This week past, the backer kit was the pre-order sort of, I don't know, stuff went up. I don't know pre-orders. I don't know Kickstarters. But one of the new items that have been added to the already exhaustive list of things that you can buy as part of this project is a Gyrewolf 4-inch figure. This will be made up by,
Wolf?
if you
Sorry,
want to
not
say
to be that
Gyrewolf, you can be
Yeah.
that dude. Better you that dude than the comment section crucifying me. Though how do you give pronunciation notes in the comments? Anyways, whatever. Send us a voice note at arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com. But Gyrewolf is modeled after the late great Gary Goggles, right? We did not ever have the privilege of meeting him, unfortunately, but the man is, by all accounts, and everyone who knows him, a legend, and has been immortalized in a number of different figures in a number of different ways. And this is the latest one of those. Basically, it's a gray and black figure that has kind of hybridized his Sightline figure with the new kind of RoboSkull, Red Wolf, or Red Shadows figure. And it's a very cool figure. Comes with a sculpted head, which has his likeness, and also a holographic head. So you can effectively army build these and make one of them Gary and the rest his holographic minions. Wonderful idea. Love it. Comes
Very
with a
cool
helmet
idea.
as well, with the red optics to emulate, once again, his Sightline figure. What is his Sightline figure, you may ask? Well, I'm glad you did, because it is
We have pictures.
was made by the Joe Declassified squad, and they used I think it's probably Flash and Grand Slam's torso, Snake Eyes' head, it looks like a Cobra Trooper's waist and legs, but basically they made up this cool like two-tone gray and black with some red accents action figure to celebrate this man's life. And what's more, they gave this figure away. This was not something that money was meant to change hands for. Change hands for.
Yeah, it
That's
wasn't meant to be
Yeah.
a sale. It wasn't
I
meant to
believe
be
they
purchased.
pressed 1,000 of them, and the idea was that they would hide them, sneak them into conventions, and if you found one, terrific. A lot of people were given one. I think Hooded Cobra Commander 788 was given one. In fact, maybe all of his family members were given one as well. But this figure was distributed, and it was a one-of-a-kind gesture. Now, there's a bit of a controversy surrounding this figure as well, and it's something that I wanted to comment on when it was raised by Anything Joe's some weeks past. But hey, life gets in the way, and I forgot. But we were fortunate enough to get one of these figures. Rob found one at JoeCon 2018. I think he was given a couple of nudges by the Joe Declassified guys. Not so, Rob?
Well,
Yeah, I believe so.
well,
So
I
Carry
can
on,
show
please.
you. I can show you that figure.
What? You have it?
Yes. Carson, Mr. Rhymes with Carson Metaxas sort of hinted at there being like something, and he drew my attention to it. And what was there? Sightline. He drew my sightline to sightline.
I was under the impression that Rob got it.
No, I was the one who got it.
Paul's the one who got it.
Oh,
I was playing
scandal.
Patsy all along.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that's
And I had mentioned
nice,
this
Paul.
before, but like it was just such a great thing. And the reason I took this photo was also because of the Becker kit. I was like, yeah, we're getting a modern one, and yeah.
Well, the controversy that I alluded to earlier is these figures were explicitly made with the intention of them never to be sold, but it's a free market out there. Of course, they would get into the hands of folks who don't really want them and see that they have some monetary value. And there are folks who, on the other hand, would love to own one, have the money, and therein lies the rather shaky ethical ground. Do you think these should be bought and sold?
I think the answer is in the Becker kit for the Roboskull, actually. In that your purchases of Gaia Viper will the proceeds of those purchases will actually go to the family of Gary Goggles. So like I kind of think that's the way to go with this. Like it should come
But I'm
from-
talking about the O-ring one that was given as these kind of
I don't
gifts
think it would be a
commemorative.
I think if they I don't know. I don't think it would be a terrible idea if they did make these available again, but then, put them on the store, on somebody's storefront, and could guarantee that the proceeds would go, to Gary's family. Then yeah, I think that's a good thing. Unfortunately, we do live in a world where Action Force figures are already being sold for like $100 on eBay, so that's gonna happen. We can't stop that, but if there's an effort made to create a channel like the guys at Roboskull have done, or like the guys have done with the Roboskull Gaia Viper, then I don't think that's a bad idea. At least that's my opinion on it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not getting any headway with you, man. Rob, is there an ethical issue with this figure now being sold?
So the people who found them originally, I mean, it's fantastic that they have them. Should they be selling them at this point after having found them? These lovely made figures. No, I think hang on to them. I mean, I think ethically it's kind of like gross. I mean, you found these cool figures. It was just meant to be a fun thing. And now you're kind of just like selling them on. I mean, maybe there are people that would appreciate them more, but like you found it. It's yours. It's a cool story for the rest of your life. Keep it. You don't need to sell these things to make money.
Yeah.
But there's a palpable demand for them.
No, for sure. But I mean, just because there's a demand for something, I mean, yeah, they'll probably sway people to kind of sell them off. But like, this is a cool experience you had. That's worth more than any money you can make off these figures.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to happen once it's this 200, 500, whatever dollars you have is gone? There, it's finished. I mean, that didn't change your life that much, did it?
Whoa, well, it might change the life of the buyer who feels like they missed out, and this is a one-of-a-kind thing that they desperately want a piece of. And now, obviously, they don't.
That's just the way
supplies
it
dried
went.
up.
That's the way that they chose to distribute these toys. If people found them, if they didn't, because you can imagine that some of them were never even found. If people didn't give hints, there are figures that ended up in bins. At the end of conventions. I mean, they're kind of like sweeping the floors. They go into the bins, or they're sitting in a pot plant somewhere.
I think
no one's ever found them.
think that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think when you
I think they probably did make an effort to make sure that people found them. But I mean,
yeah,
I think if you missed your chance to get it, you can't have it. Like it's just the way it goes.
Okay, strong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm slowly getting towards like a strong point, or at least a stronger position.
I think from an ethical point of view, and sorry, I did start off my sort of response being like, this is how we can make it an ethical thing.
Don't worry, I could delete it on the final podcast presentation.
But yeah, ethically, I think it's wrong. the thing is, the whole purpose of this was exactly as we've said now. It was, these were meant to be given out in the spirit of, Gary Goggles, who was who loved GI Joe as much as he did, and obviously wanted it to be in the hands of everybody. And so to now sell it, I feel like now it's a gatekeeping situation. Like now you are selling it because you know that it has some intrinsic value, and that it was never meant to be about that. And I do think that's wrong. I do.
Okay, so you're damning the sellers. Is it wrong for a buyer to purchase it?
Dude,
is there some level of ethical weight that they bear?
You see that and now it gets a bit circular, because there's nothing wrong with a buyer wanting it and with somebody willing to pay money for it, but at the same time, like, that person shouldn't have to pay money for it. Like, it's a weird situation. Like I said, it's circular. Like, if I really wanted a Sightline figure and I saw one online, a part of me would feel like maybe I should challenge that seller and go, dude, you shouldn't be selling these to people. Maybe you should, like, say, listen, I've got one of these for sale. I mean, not for sale, but I've got one of these. If you guys want them, first one to respond can have it, or something like that. I don't know. I think it's
a raffle or something.
A raffle, yeah, something. Make it.
Oh, it's shady, man. It's shady. Okay, well, basically, I've read the temperature in the room. You guys are both very anti the notion of this trading hands for money.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair. All right. Okay. Another thing that I'd like to bring to everyone's attention at the top of the show: has the world gone completely fucking mad?
Duh.
Oh wait, there's more to that. I thought that was the question.
A rhetorical question. Yeah, it absolutely has. ARAW 1982 to 1994, probably the biggest Facebook group of all when it comes to GI Joe. I started seeing these posts where they take the original O-ring action figure and take a side-by-side shot with the reaction figure.
I can't tell the difference.
Hilarious, Paul.
Which is which?
And the comments below are astonishing. People are rooting for the reaction figure. I remember some time ago on this podcast, we assumed that the reaction figures were not aimed at diehard GI Joe fans. That a diehard GI Joe fan will naturally snub these, less articulated, more cartoonish looking mannequins. But here we are on like a diehard GI Joe Facebook group, the most populous of all, and people are saying like, yeah, no shit, I'd take the reaction figure. The 1983 figure looks like trash. And I don't think they're trolling us, guys. I don't think they're trolling us. I think they're legit. They're like, oh, take your opinions elsewhere, O-ring fans. We like what do you like? And that's fine. Like what you like.
Like what you like. It's just...
But I just cannot believe that someone who calls himself a G.I. Joe fan would take a 5-point of articulation figure over the figure upon which it is based.
War has changed.
the world has gone mad, and people are getting at each other's throats about this. They're like, yeah, I'd take that Baroness any day over the original 84.
Well,
let's
that's
think about it
fascinating.
Mind-blowing.
That's so interesting.
But then also, like, let's be fair. I mean, nobody on this podcast, at least I don't, this is the vibe I'm getting. Nobody here is advocating that, that you should buy an O-ring instead of the reaction. At the end of the day, you buy what you want to buy. You like what you want to like. I don't understand like the tribalism that happens in people's heads with stuff like that. Like, I mean, I was pre this show, Rob and I and the Berg Force were unfortunately subjected to my opinions on the New Sculpt era, which I can't stand, But hey, there's people that dig them, and power to them. I'm not going to sit here and try to argue, but you should be buying O-rings. They are superior. Like, what do I have to gain by that? Like, screw it. They like what they like. So I don't understand arguments like that with people. I find it very tribal and very silly.
It's astonishing.
I also think the world is crazy.
they've obviously, I mean, what are they called? Big Hero 7 was the company called Secret 7.
Super 7.
Super
They've
7.
they've hit on something that people really do like then.
Chill out
And
there,
that's
Enid
cool that
Blyton. Sorry.
it's found it's found its fan base. Which is cool. I think that's fantastic. Enjoy them as much as you want. Obviously the O-ring figures are objectively better, but you can enjoy them as much as you want. I think that's totally fine. If you like those, you can collect them, and that's cool because it puts more GI Joe products out there. It helps Super 7 to produce more figures and keep GI Joe kind of alive and in people's minds, because then it allows other companies to keep producing more GI Joe related stuff too, and hopefully Hasbro to produce more stuff that we like.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's like I don't see expansion or growth of the brand as a negative thing. At least right now, I don't see that as a negative thing. And also, like, full disclosure, I've got one of those Storm Shadows on pre-order.
Yeah,
And
you see,
Taking the
But here's-
plunge.
but here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, right?
and once he
I'm
gets
gonna
it, he's
buy
going to
that.
be like, "It's the best ever. This is better than the
No,
O-ring."
I'm not, because I bought it for one reason. I really like the card art, and I
Yeah.
like the presentation of it as being in a little figure box, and it's the kind of thing I could put into a nice box frame or something and have in the lounge, which is nice to have. That's it. It's a nice presentation piece. It's not a toy for me. You see? So like that's how I appreciate those.
Yeah, I think that's
Well-
probably how I would, if I could afford it, I think I would buy them to have them as like art pieces, or kind of like
Yeah.
have them as like display pieces.
Rob, you buy pops. I mean, clearly, like the need to play with a thing.
I don't often buy pops. I bought certain
No
characters,
judgment.
where I wanted certain things. So obviously, I understand not playing with something. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So I can't see someone
Well-
saying that the Super 7 ones are superior play wise. Like I can see someone going, I like the aesthetics of these ones over the original ones, at least the O-ring versions, because it matches more with what I grew up with. I like the cartoon, looks like the cartoon character. It doesn't have to move a lot. I imagine that's where they're coming from. That these aren't one. They're not going to play with them. They're not playing
Well,
with
for
them.
my part, and you guys are gonna have to hold me to this, I will play with my toys till I'm in my grave, boys. So the argument that like, oh, we're grown men now, we don't play with toys, we can admire something for its aesthetic beauty. I'm like, not me, baby, not me. I will die on this hill, man. Like toys are meant to be played with. I have no interest in framing a toy or putting it on. Like no. Free them, play with them. If they
I
don't play
totally
well,
agree.
they did to me.
I agree
Something that
with where
does
you're
play
coming from.
well,
Yeah.
some new plastic that I got because nothing that I've
Speaking of
ordered has
5POA.
arrived. Nothing that, guys, there's something funny afoot. Like stuff that I've ordered domestically hasn't shown up. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna actually have to go down to the store and see what plastic is available. And what is available? I guess I'm on a Star Wars kick at the moment because I bought myself a Lando action figure.
No
He's
shit.
great.
He
He's
is great. I
He's a
want
good,
one now.
Good looking
review.
toy, well articulated, soft goods cape. He's fantastic. The face printing technology, like even at that scale, incredible. So bravo, Hasbro, you got a little bit of money out of me. You don't get much these days. I mainly buy your efforts from 30 years ago. But this in this instance, you actually got some fresh coin.
Also-
yeah, good stuff.
And guys, yeah, if you've missed it, and I don't know how you would have missed it, but just in case, Steve actually did a very cool review.
I
slash
don't buy
unboxing.
toys without creating content around it.
No, I get that,
No,
but
no purchase goes unpunished. You will
I just
perform in
say-
front of the camera, Lando. You will.
yeah, go out there, earn your shekels. I gotta say, dude, like that one pose that you've got him in, where he's pointing the gun at the screen, that I saw that and I was like, I'm gonna buy one of those.
Amazing.
You know,
Okay.
I'm gonna buy one of those. You sold that figure to me. Great review, by the way. Really enjoyed that.
It was
Yeah.
okay, but thanks. Nice soundtrack. Thanks, Paul. Anyone else got
pleasure,
some
Magic.
new shit this week?
I got new shit.
Holy
Let's
shit.
have it.
Let's have it. Okay, cool. So,
Ooh.
This toy, this character is a fairly divisive character, and it's actually part of the reason I suggested our topic for this episode into the mix, or why I threw this idea into the mix for the topic, because I know that this, there are a lot of contrasting opinions on this character. And who am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Of all the many contested figures in GI Joe, this is the one that I got, and his name is Captain Gridiron.
Huh.
So, which is great. He's such a cool toy. I'm a fan of Gridiron. He's like almost colored like Scoop, but he's dressed for demolition. This was an interesting purchase. I had a seller that offered me one, and the one that he offered me was, well, it was a little worse for wear. Like, to be fair, in the pictures that he sent me, it looked fine. I could see the crack in the crotch. He said to me, "There's a crack in the crotch." He did tell me that it's not in the best condition, whatever. So I'm like, no, it's no problem, because honestly, all I wanted was the gear, because to get the stuff, everything for Captain Gridiron is quite tricky, as I'm sure many of you know. Those of you who, the 5 of you who do like Captain Gridiron. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take it, just mostly for the gear, because I'm like, screw it, it'll just make my life easier. And when I got the figure, I actually found that it had 1 or 2 other errors that, and to be fair to this seller, he was very open with me with everything that he obviously thought would be an issue. But the one thing that he didn't mention,
He played the ignorance card, did he? He's a great seller. Full disclosure of the stuff that he thought he knew.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think this is a case of him being dicey or anything. This was him literally not knowing that this could be a pain in the butt for some people. But the back screw, it uses a back screw that's too big, so obviously the upper torso doesn't close properly. That does irritate me. I can actually wave some things away, but when the top torso doesn't close properly, that does really irritate me. But it's okay, because Withers Amusement had a complete, when I say complete, had a intact gridiron for less than 200 Rand, which I then bought and shipped to myself. And now I have a complete gridiron that I'm really enjoying. And and before I get into what makes this toy so cool for me, this little specimen that I got from the original seller, he bought it from somebody that obviously modified this. So if you are ever watching this show, dear viewer, former owner of this gridiron, now you know where your gridiron with its staples used in the backpack to hold this handgun. Some people call it a shotgun. Yeah, so there's little staples that are stuck into the backpack to be like a holster. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I like that. I think that's quite novel. And so yeah, if you're ever watching this, at least you now know where your gridiron ended up, or at least parts of it. Very happy to have this, because it finally rounds off my NES GI Joe collection. Something that I have wanted for a very long time. Steven is actually the
where's
guy
Jetpack Hawk?
I just don't know. I used the guys from the cover for this shot. I wanted to save it as a cover shot. But it's Steve that sort of wizened me to this idea. So this has become its own little sub-team. And yeah, so now I have all of them, and it makes me very, very happy to have them all. I was playing the theme song, the theme music from the game was in my head.
Blizzard sucks!
Yeah, anyway. So I'm very pleased to finally have this in my possession. Yes! And there's a story that went with this. When I went to go and pick up these figures, I was on my way to a party. Well, it wasn't. It was on Saturday that I fetched them, and to fetch the replacement body for Gridiron, should I say? And I went to go to the postnet to go and pick up the figure, and then while I was there, I popped into the bottle store because I went to go and get. It was a friend's birthday and a client's birthday. But this client has actually netted me some great work, so I wanted to say thank you. So anyway, I got some nice booze for them, whatever. Went to the party. There's a few people there. The kind of people that hang out there are like, your big banker types, or your big, corporate types, who toys are not really their thing. Anyway, I've got this little box, and people asked me what's in the box. So I pulled out this gridiron figure, and they're like, "Oh, cool, is that for your kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, for the biggest kid. It's for me." And they were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I collect toys, dude. I collect and play with my toys. And if you want to see evidence of that, check out our YouTube channel." And they're
Have
like,
you ever used a sort of an invented child as your excuse to buy a toy?
"No."
Okay, I've typically always been proud of my hobby, but I think I can recall one instance where I just didn't want to bother with explaining that I'm an adult toy collector. So when someone asked me, "Is this for your lighty? Is this for your child?" I was
Which is like,
like,
yeah,
"Yeah, it is. It's for my little cousin."
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
Steve.
so I
Okay.
know. Should I be embarrassed that I didn't
Yeah, you
fly
should
my
be.
freak flag high and explain? No, I collect them. I've got a room full of them. In fact, I've got several rooms full of them. A lot of it still stays at my parents' house. Is that not normal? You've got a problem with that?
The thing is,
Hilarious.
you know why I never feel bad about that? Because, like, at this party, for example, that I went to, and this is one example of many of these kind of soirees I've had to attend. You will meet somebody, and it'll be like, "Hey, I am so and so. Oh, cool, you're so and so." And often the first question they'll ask you is like, "So, like, what do you do professionally, or what is your vocation, or whatever, you know?" And then you're like, it's always like, "Oh, well, this is my job, and that's your job." And it's like, I hate that shit. So normally what I do is when I meet people, I'll be like, "Hey, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?" Like, I don't care what their jobs are. And they will eventually tell me anyway, because people do. And it's sad that there are many people out there who just, in my opinion, lead very uninteresting lives. They spend their
Whoa,
free
shots fired.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not saying everybody has to be a toy collector. That's not what I'm saying. But have a passion, for fuck's sakes. Sorry. But like, it just,
You
I hear
remind
some
me
of
of
these
that
people talk.
meme. You remind me of that
Yes.
meme. It's got like mugshots, like people that have been incarcerated, and the one's like drugs, like the person in the before shot looks great, and after shot looks really fucked up, and alcohol fucked up, cocaine, blah blah, blah. Action figures, and they're like, yeah, looking great. If you're watching the YouTube version, I'm flashing it on screen right now. Yeah.
No, because I'm just like, it just shocks me, like, what people do. Like, whatever's, like, who am I to judge? But, like, I just, and then, when they do talk about stuff, you're just like, yeah, you are a miserable shit. Because you don't have anything that, like,
You don't
gets
have
you
action
excited.
figures in
Like,
your life.
you need action figures. Fuck, man, collect sports cars or something. I mean, clearly you own enough money to, earn enough money to be able to. I mean, one of the best conversations I had with one of these corporate type, super wealthy human beings was this guy that was like showing me his like sports car collection. And he's like, it's really exciting. And he tells me about the story where he drove all the way down to this place in Bloemfontein because this guy had like a Ferrari GTO, and it was like a rare type, and he was like, it was really exciting. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, right? I mean, that's like, at least he gets excited. And he's like, yo, and my heart was racing. And he was like, he stayed over there in Bloemfontein for the night because he was like, shit, I don't know, should I drive it back, or should I actually get it towed back? I mean, like, delivered on a truck, because he's like scared of damaging, and he's like, the last thing he wants. And I'm like, I get that, that I get. And his whole reaction to me was like, I totally get you collecting toys. I totally get it. He's like, I would too if I liked action figures, but my toys are cars. He's like, the only toys I have at home is like a massive Hot Wheels collection. I'm like, you see? Big kids.
Toys, baby.
And this dude was actually an interesting
Hey.
human being. Anyway, I don't want to rant on about that too much, but just a reminder to, keep that inner child alive. It definitely is something that helps you, I feel, as a person. It helps your personality, makes you more interesting human being. Maybe a poorer human being, but more
Well,
interesting.
my inner child is still alive, but let me tell you, I'm in every other respect an old man. And you've kind of crossed over when you used to be an eBay bid sniper, like come in at the last second, even if it's at 3:30 a.m., and just roll heavy. Well, now I'm the kind of guy who bids early and like forgets about it. So I put in a bid for what I consider to be one of my Transformers grails. I'll only actually tell you guys what it was if I win it. Sorry, I'm gonna leave that little bit of suspense dangling. But
That's
by
cool,
the
man.
time this podcast sees publish, I will either know if my initial bid was successful or not. So far, it's been uncontested, and I'm wondering why. Like the item looks fine. The postage is a little bit high, but considering this is a fragile item, hopefully the seller knows that and has um, had worked up a postage quote accordingly. But yeah, no one's interested. And I'm wondering if there are people waiting in the wings, younger, quicker snipers like the old me. So yeah, it's an interesting flipping of the script. I'm anxious. I'm like, oh, checking it every couple of minutes. Have I been outbid? Oh man,
Well,
yeah,
that's still
these are the
cool, man.
things we
That's still a
live
bit of
for.
excitement.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. And the funny thing is, the auction will close while I'm, in the middle of the mid morning, so I should be able to watch it. But like, I don't know, man. When you got a kid rampaging around the house, priorities shift immensely. Like, the center of my universe used to be a closing eBay auction. Like nothing would stand in my way. Now, it gets pushed to the back and completely forgotten about. Gents, I think I'm gonna close our general chat section because I'm really itching to do this topic.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
Hey,
it.
we're gonna talk toys that if you have and you love, this topic is not so much for you. I mean, sure, it's a celebration of maybe things that you love about this toy already, and maybe a few things that you didn't know about this toy, which will make you treasure it even more. Conversely, this podcast topic is not for the folks who absolutely hate the action figures we're about to obsess over. We're not going to convince you. This is aimed squarely at the folks who have kind of collected everything that they really desperately wanted and are now looking to branch out, perhaps, who are sitting the fence. And because it's kind of the last one that was decided upon, I was wondering if Rob wouldn't mind leading the charge. What figure are you going to try and convince Paul and Steve to purchase? Because yes, in this debate, one of us will be promoting the merits of something, while the other two are going to be the doubting Thomases, trying to dissuade you from making that purchase.
And I
What you
think,
got for us, Robbie?
yeah, I was just gonna say before Rob starts, I think two things that I suppose are worth mentioning. If you have this toy already, maybe these conversations will get you to pick that toy up and play with it and see it under new light. That's what I'm hoping for personally. And secondly, I'm very easy to sell GI Joe stuff to. So, so
So,
any
so Paul recuses himself from actually leveling any criticism. He's just
no,
going to
no, no,
remain
that's
there, like he's
no.
going to be trolling eBay,
This
trawling
really is a
eBay.
great figure.
No, no, I'm not recusing myself at all. What I actually am saying is that as much as it's easy to sell this stuff to me, because I am in the market for it, I am definitely gonna give it uphill, because I want to
Ooh.
see how hard you guys will push on it to get me to like that toy. So and or
Oh
character
my
and or both.
goodness.
So,
Checkmate.
take
Paul,
it away,
you're going
Rob.
down, bro. You are going to be searching for this action figure that I'm going to promote. Like, not even before we've even ended this session, you're going to be looking for this guy. But anyways, Rob, take it away.
Okay, so I'm defending Mutt and Junkyard version 3, I believe it is, from 1992. So not the
DEF.
1993 version, it's the DF version. He comes with an animal companion. And I've said, go buy him.
Okay. It's the same, I think.
Winning.
It's the same mold, isn't it? As the original?
I believe it is,
Uh,
yes, but he comes with a much superior Mutt. I think this
Oh,
version of Mutt
Junkyard.
is much better. Oh, Junkyard. Which
Yeah.
one's which? I always confuse
He's
them.
Matt, the dog's junkyard.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I think the Junkyard is the same, but Mutt, I think, is a much improved version. Because
Oh.
he just looks, so Mutt being the person. Mutt is the person?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
but tell me, like, how is he better than the original one with his fly brown jacket and his really well sculpted helmet?
Well, I feel like he fits better into so he's finally found his place. Like I wasn't sure what he was doing on the GI Joe team until he joined the DEF, because now he actually has like a proper purpose. Like I think you bring your dog into the field, into a battlefield. I'm sure there are some uses for it, but I mean, I think searching out drugs and trying to take on the illegal drug trade is a fantastic place for a canine officer to be in. And what's even better is he has some of the best packaging art. I mean, look at this. This is like mid-90s. You've got the cool lasers going on there, but like the artwork for the character himself is just, it's vicious. He looks ready to take on drugs.
There's drugs around the corner. Shoot it.
Exactly, and he comes with some cool accessories. So
he does come with a 9mm. Nice.
Yeah, he comes with the 9mm, and he comes with a net launcher. How cool is that? And the cool thing is, it's separate from him. It's nicely colored. It matches him, and
it's translucent.
Yeah, it's translucent as well. I mean, that's a point in his favor.
Is it? Okay, Rob.
I believe so.
I just want to pause you there for a sec. I've got other things to add to previous points that you made, but just a personal story that I'd love to share, which I've never shared on this podcast before. I first encountered the DEF at the age of 8. I was probably the optimal age for the war on drugs. No, for a DEF toy to be sold to me. And when I saw the translucent BFGs, I was like, these are fake Joes. These aren't real GI Joes. This is a knockoff KO brand. Like, I was already savvy to the fact that there were KOs in the world. I'd seen KO Transformers that looked a lot like the Transformers I was buying, but there were a few key differences that tipped me off that this is not a real product or an official product. And yes, when I saw the translucent launcher, that was like, nah, that's not a real Joe. What is this? What are these purple lasers on the card art? I'm used to a digital explosion.
Those laser beams.
So I don't know if the net launcher is a selling point. It certainly wasn't for me as a child. It was a detractor, if anything.
Well, it fits with the theme. He's trying to capture the people doing the drugs and the people selling the drugs, rather than kill them outright. He's trying to bring them to the law, And
this
I think
disco launcher
is really interesting. You get to see the mechanisms on the inside,
And the disco lights.
So are drug dealing dinosaurs like a problem in his universe?
Absolutely. He has to make sure that
I'm just like,
if
because I mean, he's ready to catch Tyrannosaurus Rex or a Patasaurus or something with that thing. He's like, Denver the last dinosaur, more like Denver the last drug dealing dinosaur.
To his credit,
case, my bro.
To his credit, he has sculpted doggy treats, and there are even an itemized thing on his file card. That is a terrific little detail. But as far as him like finally finding a place in GI Joe, I don't know, man. To most collectors, his place is quite simply to man the Checkpoint Alpha, which is probably the most terrific mini set. Oh, come on.
You just leave him to man a post somewhere. I mean, that's what Law and Order's for.
Touche. Yes, maybe Law and Order made original Mutton Junkyard redundant, but I think there's a place for both. I think, once again, though, that being of the 84 vintage, Mutton Junkyard looked better at the Checkpoint Alpha than Law and Order do. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. Your argument basically predicates that, like, you have to like the DEF to like Mutton Junkyard DEF version. And if you wanted to get this figure as a standalone, I think that argument, obviously falls apart. Like, you're saying that you need to like the sub-team to like this figure, right?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. But I mean, like, the sculpting is really good. Unfortunately, I didn't get nice close-up pictures of the exact same coloring, but this is the version from the year after. But I mean, it's the exact same. It's the exact same. I mean, I prefer the coloring of the DEF version, but this is his 1993 version. But like, the detailing is so much cooler on this figure, I think, than the original. He just looks more interesting. And and it's not as like over the top. I think. I mean, you kind of like there's just enough detailing to kind of make him look interesting and different. And I think the head sculpt is pretty accurate to the original as well. You're kind of keeping that going across. I mean, it's a new sculpt. It's not identical.
And he no
But
longer
yeah, I
comes
think
with a
in general-
muzzle.
He doesn't need
So-
it. You know, I mean, that was an interesting
he's-
detail for the original, but now he's taking things seriously. You know, real Americans don't do drugs. Real American heroes don't do drugs. So he's taking this seriously. He's got a proper mission now. He's ready to take on evil.
But
I mean,
you-
he says it
but you know what
himself. He's quoted. Dealing drugs is
But
outright
you know what he's
evil.
not taking off? He's not taking off that hat, man.
He doesn't
Molded,
have to.
sculpted to him.
Yeah, it's
And he
fantastic.
does, it's
It's,
just-
a really good hat.
But the original's better because you can take the helmet off.
Why would you want to do that? You don't have to. What do you want
Because
to
it's
look
cool.
at his hair
It
for?
looks cool.
Nah,
Maybe he
of
wants to sleep. You know, he can't sleep with his helmet on. It's not comfortable.
course he can. He's a soldier. He's always ready for action. What do you want the
This is
dog
my-
to be able to like lie down? The dog can't lie down. You don't seem to.
No,
have a
that's
problem
my
with
other
that.
criticism. Why didn't they improve the dog? Like,
They didn't
why
have
must I
to.
own this if I'm getting the
They got
same
it
dog, Rob?
perfect the first time round. Well, that also makes him easier to collect. Actually, if you already have the original Mac and Junkyard, it'll be a lot easier to buy this figure because then
Can
you
you tell
don't have
me-
to have. He doesn't have to be complete.
But
can
he
you tell
doesn't
that
come
this
with a
is
leash.
hard for
this,
me?
this one.
Yeah,
He's off the
Yeah.
leash with this version.
Unleashed.
Junkyard's much
They're
better
completely
trained.
unleashed.
Maybe
yeah,
Junkyard's just
I mean,
old.
his coloring, I think, is reminiscent of the original, but it definitely, I feel it improves on the original. And it's electronic. It's got an electronic neck launcher. He launches nets electronically. I mean, that's
At
how do you not
Dinosaurs,
want to play
ideal
with
joke.
that? Exactly.
Dude,
The dinosaurs.
Rob, like, I love this toy for everything that you're saying, man. But I've got to fight it. I've got to fight it. I've gotta fight it.
Well, Paul, have
I'm
you
like-
hit eBay just yet? Are you scrolling, looking at prices?
He's not
Not
there
not yet.
He'll
Not
get
yet.
there.
Not yet. I might want to. I might want to. I don't know. Maybe. That giant rocket launching net firing device with the lasers is actually kind of appealing to me. I don't know why.
Exactly. It sells. It sells the figure. It completes the figure.
Does he only come with one gun?
He only needs one gun.
Yeah,
You
no,
have
but he's got the wrong gun.
As a collector, you already have an entire collection of guns. You don't need more than one gun with this guy.
No, I like these like original Mac 10 kind of vibes. I don't know if I'm so sold on this like piddly riddle 9
He's
mil.
working,
Like, it's not as hardcore.
in urban environments. You don't want to use a Mac 10 in an urban environment. That's overkill.
And Paul, I think Mac 10s are chambered for either 9mm or 10mm rounds, so.
Yeah, but they shoot them really fast. You can't cut a tree down with a 9 mil. The movie said you can cut a tree down with a Mac 10, and I believe the movies. So-
Aye, aye. Well, I think the easiest way to perhaps gauge whether this argument has been successful or not is if the Berg Force wouldn't mind chiming in. Those of you gents who do not possess DEF Mutton Junkyard, would you be
Can't
keen to
imagine
buy one?
people not owning him already. Like, he's so good.
And while you ponder that, Paul, do you want to go first or should I go first, pal?
Ooh, I want to go first.
Oh,
But,
you do?
yeah, I want to go first. So,
He's very enthusiastic.
yeah, I'm excited about this because Steve, I know that you're going to bring it on. So I just want to, at least let me while I'm in high spirits. Let me get- Okay,
Before
Who are you
Stephen
trying to
tears
sell
you a
us
new
on?
one.
Who are you trying to sell us on?
I'm going to paint the picture for you. So this is a GI Joe who, in his earlier Joe years, was perhaps ridiculed, but he's actually quite badass. He's got a few psychological issues, but he has now since matured. He is now living on an island, and it's a small coastal kind of fishing island somewhere in America, and he's protecting it from everything from drug dealers to mutant dinosaurs to a terrorist organization named Cobra, and it's up to him to protect this island. And every episode we get to see how he deals with not only invaders that are coming to destroy the island, but also how he deals with small town life and helping small town folk deal with their problems. And it all comes together in our new HBO spin-off show, Bazooka. Better
Whoa.
I feel
Oh, you mean
the
Fisher bazooka? They really
Fisherman
lent into
Bazooka.
this Fisher version. I mean, it's on his file card. It's on his flippin' file card. I mean, like it's his secondary specialty is fishing, and he like trained at like military school and fishing school.
Yeah,
Hardcore.
exactly, man. GI Joe was like, you know what? It's just as part of the war on drugs, we've got to stop all of these little boats sneaking in and these little planes sneaking in and that are flying over and using these little like island or these little coastal towns as their little relay points. And who's the man to do it? Possibly the one person who is the most annoyed with aviation that he wants to shoot it all down. So, yeah, we got Bazooka with his massive new bazooka, which is considerably bigger than his previous one. And you can see he's totally decked out for camping. He can take his bazooka and he's got a little satchel on there, so he can like chill and have a little fishing trip. And he can carry some like Brunnerwein in there. He's lekker, man. He's down, and he's
So
ready for anything.
how does he hunt? I mean, how does he fish? I mean, like I don't see
With
a
the
fishing rod.
grenades.
Does he use? Yeah, it's okay. It's the
Yeah.
grenades, right, on his arm
Yeah.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and to draw attention to that for anyone listening to this, he has a string of, what is it, 6 hand grenades on his wrist. Okay, he's carrying hand grenades on a forearm, one forearm.
Yeah.
Like, that
Urgh.
classifies as some kind of weight training, doesn't it? I mean, those guys
It
who
does,
run with
definitely.
those like anklets that are weighted, and I suppose you can get them for your wrists as well. But like,
It's just
these
to
are hand
balance out.
grenades.
Yeah, it's to balance things out because you know the right arm is always carrying the bazooka, so clearly it's he's using his right arm for everything. He uses it to carry the bazooka, uses it to fire the bazooka, probably uses it to write his name down, bazooka. So it's a little more developed. So the hand grenades on the left arm just help keep things balanced and organized. I mean, you can see that he really takes this seriously because he's got 2 rifles. Okay, that he carries. He dual wields 2 rifles. He's ready for action. And now he's balanced. He's more balanced than he's ever been in his whole life. He's solving those coastal towns. Those coastal town problems.
That's problem towns. He's fixing all those little cities out there.
Yeah, he's putting the DEF out of business, man. Like the DEF is running around after Headman, and he's like, I know who the real enemy are. It's Pablo Escobar. You know.
So, what is his? Does he come with a foldable camping seat? There,
You know,
does he?
sadly, he doesn't, and that is the problem. I do think if somebody was up against this figure and they were like, and I would imagine not coming with the camping chair is kind of a deal breaker. I'll give you guys that.
But
sadly,
fishing
no,
rod,
he doesn't.
maybe.
No, he's got grenades, dude. He doesn't need a fishing rod. And you know what?
Ah,
Sculpted
dude.
grenades are much better than accessory grenades. Accessory grenades get lost, they get eaten by the cat, the vacuum cleaner, your little kid brother. You know, this way you can just use your imagination. Just throw them bombs in the water. Just boom, catch a fish or 10, help the village out or help the town out. Hey guys, this is my new catch. You know, it's all good. And everybody looks the other way, you know?
And what does his hair look like with that nice removable hat he has?
Touche.
Well, you don't want to remove his hat, man. It's
Oh,
a
really?
thing. Yeah, no, it's not like Mutt. He's not. It's not like he's not like Mutt, dude. Like Mutt, you know, you need to remove Mutt's helmet because it relieves the tension. That guy's very tightly wound up. Bazookas, he's cool. That hat's nice and loose. It's soft. It doesn't need to come off. You know, we don't need to make it harder for collectors now that need to try and buy this thing on eBay. You know, now they're like, oh, cool, I got the best version of Bazooka ever, and now I got to find his hat. At least everything's together. You know, to be fair, you don't even need the guns. You know, you can just buy them as is. There you go. 90s figure, awesome. You can use
So
somebody
how
else's
many
guns.
different colors are his accessories? I mean, I've seen a bright blue rocket launcher. I've seen these garish green rifles. Are there any other colors that he comes with?
Yes, he's got some invisible weapons. They're also quite hard to find on eBay. But yeah, that would be my answer for that.
So, Paul, does he come with any accessories that are uniquely his?
So have you seen the grenades on his wrist?
Uh-huh. Okay. And are his parts all unique?
No, they're not. I know that I'm trying to think where they're from, but I know that they're not all uniquely his. His head is unique though. That I have to give that to him. He's got that. That I know for a fact is his head.
Yeah, the
thing is,
pants
guys-
belong to a guy who rhymes with small brawn. Bullhorn.
Small bro.
Okay, not quite rhyming, but close enough. Hey guys, I'm fried. I'm absolutely frazzled.
No, small
Afraid of
brawn
the
is
seas.
great.
Small brawn. Yeah.
Small brawn. So yeah, so my thing is just remember that we now have a new captivating GI Joe character that could actually spin off into its own TV series. Cool. He's kind of like the Tiger Force. He's got tiger striped pants. I didn't have to mention that earlier because I didn't feel I have to, but I'm just putting it in here anyway. He's got the best hat. Okay, it's not removable. Fine, whatever's. He's got grenades on his wrist, and if you buy him on eBay, you don't have to worry about getting a complete bazooka because you can just get him as is without his weapons.
Because the accessories
And
are
I think he'll still be cool.
utterly forgettable. Yeah, okay, Paul. Okay, here's the big argument, and it's going to be the hardest uphill battle for both of you, gents. And I think it's one that I might have defeated with my third, with my pick.
Your pick.
Yeah, but what makes you want to get this guy instead of classic, cartoon accurate, football jersey wearing signature
action figure.
bazooka?
Oh.
Yeah, shut up. With removable helmet, with unique accessories, unique parts. I mean, his pants are so generic they might as well not be unique, and yet they are.
You know, to that I just say, what kind of GI Joe collector are you really if you don't have a bazooka already? I mean, that is why you want this figure. You just want more bazooka. You've bought the original. You've bought Tiger Force, and now you are missing the third version of him that you have to have. That is
Look,
why.
of the 1985 series of Rockstar figures, Bazooka's easily one of the most skippable. So if you are starting a collection out, you probably got your Flint, you've probably got your V2 Snake Eyes, you got your Quick Kick, you got your heavy hitters, Alpine. Bazooka's somewhere down the priorities list. And certainly a second bazooka from Battle Core is way down that list. Come on, Paul.
I think
What
you
you
should
do-
you should be able to prefer this one there. I think.
Oh?
Yeah, I
Because
think he
he's cheap. Also,
fits
it's
better
cheaper.
in. He's cheaper. He fits in better, I think, with the collection. Also, he fits in better with those characters. I think his color scheme matches them better than the original bazooka do. Why am I helping Paul? Why am I doing this?
Well,
the grenades on his wrist, man.
maybe it's time to vote. We will do the results right at the end. But you at home can play this game too. Just drop down to the YouTube comment section and tell us if you are indeed now looking for a DEF Mutton Junkyard or Battle Core Bazooka gone fishing. But yes, I am going to turn to the Berg Force and find out from them, those of them who do not own this bazooka version, are you now in the market for one? And I think it's time I threw my hat in the ring, gents, unless you have anything to add on your two picks.
I think everyone knows.
Just want to say that I picked this bazooka over another figure that I'm saving for a future episode, which hopefully I'll be able to buy. I was so scared of putting it on this episode and inflating the prices of it. I know that I am going to be
That's
solely
how Getty is at
responsible for
arguing.
fishing bazooka.
Who knows?
Climbing in price. I'm joking, of course, but yeah, that's all I want to say. As you were.
Okay, Stephen, what figure are you going to be dazzling us with now?
Oh, here it comes, boys. Eco Warriors Deep 6 from 1992. My friends, for those of you listening to the podcast, you would probably know this figure as the one that comes with the gigantic, squishy
Angry
boss
dolphin.
toy dolphin. Yeah. That is, unfortunately, his defining characteristic when it really should be the fact that he's probably the most advanced deep sea diving entry the line ever produced. The only thing I need to get into with this figure really relates to the science. The aesthetics, take it or leave it. Either you're a fan of dark, realistic base colors with extreme 90s, eye-blindingly, eye-searingly hot colors overlaid over the top. I mean, either that tickles your aesthetics or you think it should belong in the trash. With regards to the dolphin, I'll simply say that it is a thing. Naval dolphins that are used to locate underwater munitions. They are somewhat of a thing that have been in use in the navies of the world, particularly the United States, for some time now. Dolphins are extremely reliable, good beasts of burden, if you want to call them that. I don't know, workhorses, teammates. So it's a very unique animal companion inclusion. The execution leaves something to be desired because it is that squishy bathtub texture, but that's to facilitate its water squirting or water vomiting feature. But like I say, the dolphin's neither here or there. The thing that I really want to focus on is the figure himself and the science surrounding this figure. And for that, we need to turn to the file card. I'm actually going to read it out. There's not
He's
much.
holding his shit.
He's gritting his teeth. Well, there's the reason for that, Paul, and we'll get there. Deep Six's armored diving suit is built not only to withstand the pressures of deep water, but specifically coated to resist the corrosive action of the worst aquatic pollutants, including Cobra's toxic sludge. Unlike deep water suits of yore, Deep Six's new suit benefits from new advances in metallurgy, ceramics, and bonded polymers to give him unparalleled freedom of movement and flexibility. Together with his trained dolphin, Finback, Deep Six can penetrate any underwater obstacle Cobra deploys on the ocean floor. Okay, that's all very fine and well. But we get into the itemized indicators of like his various bits of equipment, and that's where things really get interesting. Because at number 9, we see that his suit has built-in aqua-amplified turbo thrusters, which obviously propel him through the water. And as a result, he doesn't need the same kind of devices that Wetsuit came with. You know, there's little like mini subs or mini propulsion devices. But where is his gas tank, his air tanks, you ask? Like, surely there's an accessory missing. He comes with fins, he comes with a harpoon gun, he comes with a dolphin, and a figure stand, which is made, you know, the fins make that redundant. What was that for?
I know where he plugs his airline.
Okay.
In the dolphin's blowhole.
Touche. Jokes aside, though, I'd like to direct your attention to...
He's going to say James Cameron.
Dude, you know where I'm going. Okay.
I know where you're going.
Yeah? Yeah, okay. Take a look at number 4. The chest-mounted liquid oxygen containment vest. Hey? Does that at all stick in your mind? Is there anything interesting that you want to point out about that? What is liquid oxygen?
Something James Cameron invented.
I'm gonna
No. There's some real science behind this, boys.
Yeah.
In the 60s and mid 70s, it was experimented upon, an oxygen-rich solution that a diver basically is immersed in and breathes, I suppose, like a fish. You are drinking in this solution and it is oxygenating your lungs.
Yeah,
Crazy,
and it also
but
equalizes
true.
the pressure. Yeah. Or
Yes,
theoretically,
it's self.
it's meant to,
Yeah. I mean, it has the advantages of basically by having liquid oxygen contained in your vest, you don't suffer from the bends or nitrogen narcosis or even oxygen toxicity, because at depth, like a higher concentrations of oxygen that your blood will be taking in because it's under pressure start becoming toxic to you. Those things are all defeated by this system. So it allows you to dive deeper than anything, really. And all of a sudden, the science of this becomes very, very appealing. This was experimented on in the Navy in the 60s and 70s. As I said, the diver's name himself was Francis J. Falagic. Falagic, yes.
Fellas.
In
Carry
any
on.
case, in 1971, this particular Navy diver gave a lecture on his experiences, and someone in attendance was none other than a 17-year-old James Cameron, who went on to make The Abyss, where Ed Harris's character actually uses this technology. So in Deep Six version 3, it is, that technology is being presented. And I don't think this is something that the fandom is truly aware of. It explains why he has this boxy helmet. I mean, the helmet is basically filled with liquid oxygen and is specially reinforced against the immense pressures that he's going to be experiencing at 300 meters, 400 meters, 500, as deep as maybe 600 or 700 meters. This guy is far, far down. And as the file card indicated, the suit is specially reinforced. So this represents an evolution of Deep Six's character, of his taking it to the next level. This guy is GI Joe's dedicated diver. He's not a Navy SEAL. He's not meant to be working in amphibious environments, sea, air, land. No. This is GI Joe's #1 guy when it comes to going deeper than anyone else. And down there, he's absolutely peerless, second to none. None of Cobra's operatives or Destro's guys can get as deep as Deep Six, thanks to the kind of science that this figure employs. It's fantastic. And as I say, I don't think people are aware of exactly how amazing this figure is as a representation of that technology.
Well, you've certainly bought into the marketing on that back of that file card of how they explained why this figure does not come with accessories he should normally come with, and why they basically sculpted a figure that doesn't have any diving equipment whatsoever. Incredible, Stephen. This is amazing. You've
like
certainly
slippers.
sold this story so well. Don't worry about the accessories. He doesn't need them. He has a super, look at that cool detail on the front of his figure. I don't know if you can see it because it's so bright and purple. That little thing right there, that's liquid oxygen. He's fine. He's okay. He's down deep, so deep that he's not fighting anyone. He's just hanging out with his dolphin, essentially.
So, a few comments I wanted to make. Yes, dolphins are regarded as man's other best friend. And it is easy. I understand it's easy for people to get excited about this figure and get excited about the dolphin because it's, a person can relate to a creature that also likes to have sex for fun because dolphins do. The dark side of that, though, is that dolphins are also known to be pretty rapey. And this dolphin in particular is a pretty rapey looking dolphin, if you have to ask me. So that kind of freaks me out a bit. I'm like, I don't know if I want to support, rapey dolphin toys. Moving along, any self-respecting G.I. Joe fan, is going to dislike 2 James Cameron movies. The first one being Titanic, and the second one being The Abyss. So, like nobody wants that diving figure from The Abyss because everybody's like, oh, that was a crap movie. They almost killed Ed Harris. And Ed Harris, any self-respecting G.I. Joe fan is also going to like Ed Harris. And they're not going to want to support something that reminds them of a film that nearly killed Ed Harris. That's not good. Also, what's with his gun, man? That's like a core weapon? Doesn't somebody from the core have that? I know.
Deep Six has that weapon, dickhead.
Yeah,
Except now it's been upgraded from a spear gun to a laser gun. Hey.
Oh, okay.
Lasers,
But they didn't
underwater.
change the mold.
That's impressive.
Look, all I'm saying is this figure is important and essential because it represents an advancement in a character's equipment and technology. Deep Six version 1 was a completely inarticulate figure, if you can even call it that. It had articulation at the arms and that was it. but that represented like deep dive suits of yore. You know, the extremely armored. It's basically you're encasing yourself in a small one-man, almost skin-tight submersible vehicle. That's tantamount to what this is. Then he upgraded or downgraded even in 1989 to that like old school copper pot, like bell helmet, whatever you want to call it, turn of the century style deep diving gear, which to my mind means that he's operating at even shallower waters. But now this represents some like next gen futuristic science fiction, like
Technology, yeah. Like
potential technology. It
yeah.
never actually went into use because, you know, there were just certain hurdles that could not be overcome. But GI Joe can do that, can take it to the next level. And as I said at the top, Deep Six is the guy who would be pushing himself, would be signing on to these experimental programs because it's his thing. He's the
Yeah.
guy who holds his breath longer than any other Navyman who the GI Joe, like he became their deep sea diver simply because he could dive deeper, hold his breath longer. Like he is an overachiever in his solitary pursuit. He wants to be down there. He wants to be alone, and he will push himself in every which way, scientifically, technologically, to do that. Like in every respect, he's like one of those, you know, crazy Guinness World Book of Records holders. He wants to be that guy, the first guy to do it. So this is an essential figure if that's what you're after.
No,
And he's certainly in my crosshairs.
Telling us a story, essentially.
Rob,
It's the
what
file
are your
card that sells his
counter-arguments,
character.
man?
Well, as I
Like,
said
what-
earlier, he comes with no accessories. I mean, essentially, the story on the back of his file card is it's marketing to spin. It's a spin as to why the character comes with basically nothing. I mean, there's no explanation as to why he's so garishly colored. I suppose
don't you like
in
pink?
the deep
Or is it the
ocean.
green?
Yeah, or is it the I don't know. It's a bit much.
To that I say, he doesn't need anything. The play patterns that he involves require only this miraculous technology and potentially a weapon, because obviously he can't simply appear at the bottom of the ocean. Like he has to descend to depth and even more vulnerably ascend back to the surface. Like to get from 600 meters back to the surface, we're talking like 3 minutes, and that's if you are sprinting, if you are really pumping your legs and you know, making what is in the dive world an emergency ascent, which would probably kill you if you weren't using this technology. But because he's completely encased and using liquid oxygen, he'd be able to do it. In any case, 3 minutes of ascent, that is a dangerous time to be moving through what is potentially, you know, patrolling cobra hammerheads and eels and the demon of the deep. I mean, he can go a lot deeper than Hydro Viper, let me tell you.
Well, it's such an
Well, that's
impressive
pretty
design
skillful,
that a year later they went back to his previous design.
Very
They
good.
obviously realized, you know, him being all alone in the bottom of the ocean with no one to fight because his technology is so impressive, because no one else can go that deep, was kind of redundant. So they were like, okay, let's put him back in the old suit. Let's have
Well,
him
he's got
actually fight
equipment
Cobra.
to deal with every situation, and for you to play out every scenario that Deep Six could be involved in, you need to buy this figure. I mean, you can have his 89 style for certain operations, maybe like a weld that he needs to perform on a TTBP. But if you want to go really, really deep, if you want to get to the bottom, you need Deep Six version 3.
Does he have a psychic connection with the dolphin?
Well, I'm sure he has a kinship. He's a fan of whale songs.
Okay, but
He
like,
probably really admires porpoises. So, yeah, maybe he's got a connection to the dolphin. I wouldn't say it's bordering on psychic, but like if you're both down there and you have each other's company and each other's company only, well, I'm sure they get up to some kinky shit that you alluded to earlier. No. In all seriousness, no, probably not a psychic connection. Certainly not on the file card or any of the media.
Pity, because I was actually about to buy this figure. I was like on eBay, I was about to click buy, and it was like no psychic connection. I'm like, fuck it, it's dead to me.
Well, here's another selling
I'm
point,
joking.
guys. This is a rather backhanded selling point, but I mean, I'm so desperate right now, I'll take it. The dolphin is oftentimes not sold with the figure. I have, in fact, never seen it like an auction for it complete with dolphin, and it would probably fetch a pretty penny if it was to be. The dolphin is a skippable piece for the simple reason that if you're not a completionist, you could probably do better at getting a sculpted dolphin accessory than using the actual included dolphin that the set originally came with. I'm sure it was written in Bellamo's book, or certainly in Form BX257's review, which let me credit Kevin for all the pictures that I stole from his review because I don't have this figure. So yeah, every still that I've used in this sales pitch was from him. Basically, they went on to say that the dolphin was oftentimes lost or misplaced because I'm sure in a lot of people's collections, a lot of kids, they thought it was a bath toy and that it wasn't included with the figure. So these things are lost in the sands of time. But
Oh,
I'm here
wow.
to tell you that you don't need it because there are many, many vastly superior scale dolphin toys out there from a variety of different animal lines at varying different price points that can fulfill this role a lot better than that awkward squishy toy. So have at it. Buy the figure, buy the accessories, hold off on searching for the dolphin, and get a better one.
I
I
think
don't like
people are
the
better off
dolphin now.
getting mutton junkyard. Actually, I think just
Well,
skip this figure.
then I think it's time to vote. Those of you guys in our chat at the moment, please, if you do not have Eco Warriors Deep 6, are you now in the mood to start searching for one? And I'll give you some time to enter those results. Meanwhile, gents, I don't know. Now that the dust has cleared, is anyone enthusiastic about getting this diver?
I feel like I want to reserve all my comments until after everybody has voted because you
Oh,
guys know
fine.
me.
I'm not gonna get any DEF figures other than Bulletproof simply because he's the only unique figure and unique character, I should say. And the rest have superior vintage versions. But if I get Bulletproof and all of a sudden I'm like, here's the leader of a sub team that I don't have, well, then that's when the slippery slope starts presenting itself.
It begins.
Yeah.
Bart says yes. Mark
Hey,
says no.
results later, dickhead.
Oh, that was a spoiler. I mean a teaser.
Paul, I take it you want wait, what am I saying?
You want all of them, don't
You want
you?
to be coy. And as for Battle Core Bazooka, hell to the no, never, not gonna happen. Sorry, Paul.
Well, I mean, they made as much
Okay.
effort on him as they did with this guy to sell the character looking like that. I mean, they definitely did rework his history to make him into a fisherman. He's a huge fishing enthusiast, so I think the file cart sells him as hard as Deep Six's file cart sells this figure.
Huh. Okay. I was really hoping my spin-off show would help to turn a few people to Bazooka.
I
well.
think he looks cool. He was definitely one of the options that I was actually thinking of arguing for. I think he's a pretty decent character. I mean, you could use. It's nice to have a different looking character in your collection. I think he doesn't necessarily have to be a Bazooka. It could be almost anyone else, really.
Okay. I get that. I just feel like Bazooka is one of those characters that I feel like the cartoon did him a bit dirty. I think he's actually a more complex character than the way he's portrayed.
So this is like a fresh
And-
start for him. Kind of like
Yeah.
just move away from that football wearing version that you were.
Yeah, and this is partly inspired by when Devil's Due released the Battle Files with their GI Joe comic, and he's like retired from active service, and they do sort of pay him a little bit of lip service, and that he's retired, and to me that sort of has stuck in my brain for some reason, and then just coupled with this figure, I'm like, here's a man with purpose, Who's doubted?
Do you know what
But
I
now
find the
he's a
most
hero.
the first fascinating thing about all of this is that we all chose the third version of a character, the
That
third
is
figure of
interesting.
a thing to come out. I mean, that's completely unrelated. We didn't discuss who we were going to do beforehand. I mean, we did. We told each other, but we didn't we didn't go like, okay, then I'm going to choose this one based on what you chose. Isn't that interesting? All version
And-
threes.
And they all come
I
from
love
either
this.
the year 1992 or 1993.
I think what we're saying is there's stuff in the 90s that's obviously being overlooked here. I think
Well,
that's the
it's always
general idea here.
it's always going to be the 90s stuff, which is Marmite. You either love it or you don't. But as I say, if we have swayed you, dear listener, please,
Let
by
us
all
know.
means,
Yeah.
jump into the comment section on the YouTube thread. We'd love to hear it. And indeed, we could read it out on a future show. More on that later. But as far as our live studio audience is concerned, I think our results are in. And I'm going to start off with, the order that we did them on the show. With Drug Elimination Force Mutt from 1992. Folks that are interested in now purchasing this figure would be Bart and Darren, and a yes-ish from Mr. Tim Wilde. I mean, the caveat is that he doesn't really want any of these, but if there's one that he has to go out and now search for, I guess he wouldn't mind getting Mutt and Junkyard.
Nice.
And then that leaves the against list being Matt, Chris, and Mark. So that's an even 3-3 split. I think you can take some pride in that, Rob.
I think that's fair. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty fair.
50-50 of the folks who don't possess this figure and his animal companion would be in the market for it. Kind of.
But Face 69 says that dolphin's crimes put Zartans to shame. Thank you, dude.
Scandalous. All right. With Bazooka, once again, Buttface69 is the only one now interested in getting him. But I get the feeling Buttface is showing a little bit more sympathy than actual desire to purchase these figures. We'll get into that in a bit. But the against list is unfortunately three members strong. Darren, Chris, and Gaz would definitely not like to take Bazooka fishing. Boo!
Yeah, because he's the best fisherman.
Yep. And when it comes to Eco Warriors Deep 6 from 1992, Chris, Bart, and Buttface would be interested with the epilogue that he wants that Deep 6 so his other Joes can bully him and be completely right in doing so. It's good male bonding time. Jeez, Buttface, what is it? Is it the head in the box? Do you beat that with rods? Yeah, that sounds like a torture, especially when it's still filled with fluid. And Mark and Darren are like, hell no. No. We ain't getting that figure. You can be as convincing as you want, Steve, but that's not going on our lists. So interesting times, gents. Look, of these three
Yeah, I
figures,
think we all agree. I win. This is amazing news. I love it.
nice.
I think.
And Andrew, MCDJ, ACDC says he's got all three already.
Wow.
Lucky dude, man. I
Are
think they're
they
cool
on
toys.
card or does he have them loose? Because I like to
We'll
play,
find out
man.
shortly.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Darren Cobb's comment here as well. He just responded to at Buttface69 that dolphin may actually be Zartan. So yeah, I would like to say this in closing. I started this off by saying, guys, you know me, I like them all anyway. I want to buy them, but the reason I actually picked that bazooka more than anything was I recently had somebody come to my house and ask me to assess some GI Joes for a collection and put all the right accessories together and all that stuff for them. And it's the first time I had encountered that figure in the flesh, and I was surprised at how much I actually liked it in hand. I was like, wow, this is actually quite a cool toy. And so that's why I wanted to elevate him when after this topic was chosen, because I mean, Gridiron was the thing that inspired the topic for me. But when I had to think of who would my choice be, it was that as my first choice. My first one was like Bazooka, because there are others. There are definitely other Joes that I'd love to, or Cobras actually, that I'd love to advocate for in future episodes of Hard Sell. But yeah, and I'm sorry, but I really do love that version of Deep Six as well. I remember seeing it in Mark Bellamo's book for the first time and seeing that ridiculous dolphin, and it makes me laugh, and I dig it, and I just can't believe something so outrageous came out of GI Joe that it kind of got me wanting it. But then after a little bit of a close examination on the figure, I'm like, hey, it's pretty cool. And what Steve has said has made me want it more.
He just
purely
read the
because-
file card to you. Come on.
Look,
I know.
No, if it was as easy as that, people would be making that association left, right, and center. But this figure, like, it's got many sins, unfortunately, and that
does.
just made it become more and more obscure. But like, I just wish more fanfare was made about the technology that the designers were trying to implement in this figure, because there are times when Hasbro are really getting high on their own stuff, and there are times when they are the designers were incorporating something that is an existing theoretical or even practical technology out there. And liquid oxygen as a breathing solution is a thing. And it's so exciting that there's an actual figure that makes use of it. Of course it had to be Deep Six. Yeah, Cobra do surgery, but the Navy does liquid oxygen. Wicked.
And it is wicked. And sorry, with what you said there and how you've brought that out, I do appreciate the figure more. And I've also been playing this game, or it was a while ago last year, playing this game called Subnautica. And you are basically you're stranded on a water planet. And it's all about diving and exploration, and the diving suit is similar to that Deep Six diving suit. And just playing that game made me go, oh, cool. This is like being Deep Six or Torpedo, So I think the play value is totally there. And Rob, listen, man, I was sold on Mutton Junkyard DF the second I saw that it launched 2 big rockets that fire a net. I mean, that's just the coolest accessory. I love that
Fake
accessory.
G.I. Joe. Fake.
And
G.I. Joe.
And I do like the sculpt. The only problem I have with that figure, really, if I have to be nitpicky, is I don't like the fact that it has 2 different greens for the shirt and the pants. I think one of those greens shouldn't have been green. That's all. Otherwise, I think it's a cool looking toy. I think it's a great head sculpt. The way I look at it is that Mutt from '84 is Mutt when he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go and see some shit, and then this one is like Mutt's like, I've seen some shit.
Yeah, he's
The
ready
fa-
to
the-
really, take things seriously.
Yeah, like
He's
you can see
fantastic.
he's like been brought down to a somber sort of self. But anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed that. It's hard for me to be like against something unless I really am against something.
And with that, gents, I think it's time for Postbox the Pit with a little
Oh my
twist.
Goodness.
If you'd like to get hold of us directly in a long form, you can email us at arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com. The address will be in the description to this podcast. But if you really want to get the dialogue going, we love our YouTube comments thread. So if you have listened to this on a podcatcher, check out the comments thread on YouTube if you want to chime in with your own thoughts, suggestions, and anything you say might be raised in a future podcast. To wit,
Whoa.
I'd like to start a new segment. And the segment is Rob's Soapbox.
Wow. What does that mean?
Rob Soapbox.
Every single week, Rob will select his favorite response in the YouTube comments thread and read it out for us for discussion on the show.
I love it.
Yeah? Do you have one
Yeah.
for us, Robbie?
Absolutely. So from episode 236, if everyone remembers, it was hardcore. There's a
Yeah.
fantastic comment from Emmanuel Gossot, and he asks, "What is core?" And the pink tomahawk hairdo guy does his pant is as tailored for his behind that he wears a G-string after all. He reminds me of that bad guy from Mad Max 2.
Very true.
What is cool?
Thank you,
What is cool,
Emmanuel.
guys? Emmanuel has commented several
got
times
it.
before on some of our videos. He definitely asks the difficult questions. I appreciate his contributions. He does. He definitely does. So that I think we're talking about Whispering Willie here, aren't we? Because I think that's most
We
people
are.
seem to hone in on Whispering Willie. There's one thing or another, like the kids sniggering about it when they looked at the packaging. That's actually much better. The whole scoop with Rob. That's actually a much better thing.
All
So I
right,
think, yeah, I think Whispering Willie.
Rob's soapbox has been retired on its debut mission, and we're going with Bart's suggestion, the whole scoop with Rob. Nice.
I love it.
Love that.
So I think that's actually what actually drew most people's attention was Whispering Willie and his the out there design of the character.
Just a
He's
name
definitely
that
a
rolls off
standout.
your tongue, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Willie's always roll off my tongue. So
Easy.
So what is Core? Core is the cheaper counterpart to G.I. Joe. I mean, that's essentially what it is. And yeah, I think he's definitely the standout character of the entire line, at least the initial lineup. And he does feel like a character from Mad Max 2. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say.
What's his name? Humongous?
What?
The guy, the big guy.
Oh, from
whatever.
Mad Max. No. That's from Mad Max Fury Road. You're thinking of Immortum Joe, aren't you?
Whatever, man. I must say, like, I have a vague awareness of Mad Max, but just the aesthetics. But like, I don't think I can actually stomach
You're
any of
thinking
them.
of Mad Max Thunderdome. With
Beyond
that little
Thunderdome?
guy Beyond Thunderdome, yeah, with the little guy, and he's in the Thunderdome fighting the huge giant guy and the little guy, and then he kind of kills. Spoilers. I think he kills the big guy, and then he becomes friends with the little guy. Something
Sounds
to
like
that
a
effect.
very intellectual analysis of these tentpole movies, these pillars of cinematic excellence.
Of Australian cinematic excellence.
Oh, wagga wagga, mate. Rob, something that I mean, we didn't really have the time to get into it on the last pod, but can you recall an era when the core actually became our protagonists? Like, these weren't
course.
just supporting characters; these weren't just the other guys or cannon
We've talked
fodder.
about it before, I believe, when we went into our Marauders era, where I think Core went into their, not new sculpt, but their kind of like I suppose it is new sculpt. They kind of saw what G.I. Joe was doing with the new sculpt era, and they kind of completely redesigned the Core. Much softer plastic, more durable plastic.
T-crotches.
T-crotches, and just a really great detailing. I mean, there was reuse of molding between them. But still, each one looked very unique and different. And yeah, we definitely put aside all of our Joes, and for a couple of years or a year or so, that's what we played with, was these new sculpt Core figures.
No,
it was Mad Max.
Yeah, I was right. Humongous. Come on. I think I saw it. I mean, he's got like this big naked dude with a helmet on. Anyways, it's besides the point. Or it wasn't beside. It was the point.
It was the point.
The point is now concluded. Thank you, Darren. Either way. Listen, I seem to recall another instance where the core were our heroes, and like this is so obscure that I'm sure you won't remember, Rob, but when we were getting McFarlane Toys Alien figures and Predator figures, we wanted to play a game that was a smash up of Alien and Predator, or Aliens and Predator. So I went into the garage. Well, I pulled my dad's car out, went into the garage, darkened it, and made like a maze-like structure, and then took Alistair's camcorder and using the night shot function, shot like an infrared like a sequence basically with point of view camera work. And I put like, you could like type little text into the clip. So I put like the characters' code names or file names, just like in Aliens, you know, they like switch to Apone or Vasquez, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I compiled this sequence, cut it together, and it ends with an alien like basically attacking and killing each of this kind of advanced squad's members. So you just see a bunch of like jump scares, like the alien jumping at the camera, and that guy's dead. And then cut to the next guy, and that guy's dead. Is this ringing any bells?
It feels familiar, but you are right. I don't remember it too well.
Sounds like a good time, though.
I
It was
wish
a
I'd
great
remember
time.
this better.
And the figures we chose as our protagonists were the late 90s core figures because they were all in muted greens and black and grays. They were in very realistic colors, and because they had a uniformity, they evoked, for us at least, the guys from Predator.
Ah,
You know, you had the guy with the slouch hat. That was Jesse Ventura or Blaine. Like we could, like, was it Tony Tanner? He was Paco. Like everyone had a core
counterpart.
Yeah. So we managed to put that all together, and so we had this dual game of like guys descending into the alien lair, and then guys on the surface who were dealing with this invisible predator threat. Like that was the game, and it was
I
fucking
feel
cool.
like I remember some of it. I mean, the Predator part especially, but the Alien part I don't remember so well, I think.
Well, I don't think we actually got as far as that. I think we had to cut it short. But like, yeah, the Predator sections were being played in the front garden, like outside the lounge, and the alien bits were in the garage. And I think my dad was like, Steve, can I pull a car in, please? You know, because in order for us to play the sequence, we had to keep the car like parked on the street, and he was not keen on that after dark. Anyways, that was a nice little trip down memory lane to the other time the core were our main guys.
Hell yeah.
A question from Bart,
Hmm.
quickly. Did you take apart your core and customize them?
No, I don't think so. They're
Bart.
just totally normal figures.
Bart is the
There.
quintessential customizer. He's always on my case. Like, yeah, Steve, when are you going to customize stuff? It's a slippery slope. Like, once you start. But, sorry, pal, I'm not going to start. Never. I want my toys to remain as they are. Like,
Original.
I just don't know. I don't know how you guys do it. Like gut and take apart toys. I'm like, I want to mend them, make them whole again. You guys want to destroy them, turn them into something new. Hey, I guess I'll never reconcile to it, but power to you all, because the work that you produce is incredible. I just don't have that much faith in my own abilities. I will screw things up irreparably and not be able to make anything good out of them. So yeah, terrified. Even when they're core, sadly, even the most worthless figures are still treated with, I don't know, some kind of reverence by me.
Reverence, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
somebody
They're
posted on the
still over 20, 30 years old, so.
I don't want to buy one and buy two so I keep one pristine and the other one to destroy. Like I can't do that either. It's just not in my DNA, guys.
Well, I was gonna say, like on the WhatsApp GI Joe local GI Joe group I'm on, somebody actually posted the other day, posted an image, and it's like core, basically replacement parts for GI Joe. Yeah, so I mean, as far as customizing goes with core, at least in South Africa, or in the South African mindset, according to this WhatsApp group, they're just really there for spare parts. So,
I mean, it's stretched as far as like T-hooks, screws, and O-rings, obviously. But I've started seeing some very creative uses of core crotches. Like Joe crotches that are frequently broken,
but you
be
have.
it Tiger Force Outback or Beachhead. Like, you might find in all of the core color variations a color match, a plastic color match. And if you've got that, that's 90% of the battle already won. Like, it's very easy to put the camo pattern on them if you can just like match the paints. But yeah, getting a base plastic color that matches, that's the key. And the core can offer that, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, the core, or as we know them, organ donors is the actual meme that I'm quoting it
Corpse.
directly. Corpse.
Dick donors. But I think that
Um,
concludes episode 237, right, gents?
Totally. I just want to make one small little mention because it's a big small mention, but I just want to shout out a massive Berg-sized thank you to Andre Steron. Thank you very much for joining the Berg Force. You're in the Berg now, baby. And we really thank you for your support. And as usual, thank you to our Berg Force for your continued support of the channel. It really does make things super awesome here. And and thank you for joining us on these awesome podcast adventures as a live audience member. So thank you very much. And as Steve would say, for only $3, you can join the awesomeness that is the Berg Force.
I have heard him say
yeah.
that.
I've heard him say
It's
it
very
before.
accurate to what he would
It
say.
is. Yeah,
You could
can
hear it
even
right
put in
now,
more if you really want
live.
to.
For only $3 dues a month, you can join us live. Or catch the replay 24 hours before it comes to the public. Or you
Dun,
can just
dun,
stick around
dun.
and get it anyways. Hey! But
This
we
is gonna be
appreciate
a bumper
absolutely each
episode.
and every person who listens to us on our inane 2-hour rants. Thank you for being part of the GI Joe family, GI Joburg family. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. And with that, I think it's worth saying, what is called? Baby, don't whisper. Don't whisper to Willie.
Oh, Paul, wasn't it you who had the greatest gag once upon a time? You're like, have you heard famous Ukrainian folk song, Vladislav? No, I've not heard that. Vladislav. Vladislav! Baby, don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me.
I told that joke to a Polish chick. She lost her mind, man.
Awesome. Prepare for down count.
Vladislav.
3, 2, 1, off blast.
All right, we are running on fumes and we're running out the door. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
Cheers,
be kind to
everybody.
one another and yo, Joburg.
And don't buy my bazooka.